Good morning. Welcome to the home of Unitarian Universalism in Central Washington. My name is Roxanne Harrison, and I serve on the worship team. I will be your celebrant this morning. If you are a visitor this morning, we are so glad you are here. We welcome every person of goodwill, just as you are. Whatever body you inhabit, whomever you love, whatever your age, you are welcome here. We invite everyone to join us for coffee, treats, and conversation after the service, both in person or on Zoom. For the folks on Zoom, you'll find the order of service in the chat. And now, please take a moment and greet those around you, especially someone you don't know well. And let's give a wave to those who are on Zoom. Good morning. All right. Announcements, I believe.
Yesterday was Pride Day, something that we helped start because of this congregation, started here in this building. And it's amazing to see that it continues to grow, and especially this last year when corporations were afraid of what the president might do to them and backing off. It was great to see that Wenatchee continues to celebrate Pride and affirm the diversity of humanity. There were lots of people who got there early to set up our booth. They're on Church Road down in the street. And people who stayed late to close that up, and people who came all day. And I just wanted everyone who went to the booth yesterday to stand up and just raise your hands up and feel good. Was there one primary organizer? I can't remember. It was really Laura, yeah. So special thanks to Laura, thank you very much. Yesterday also was the second day of our yard sale, which has been prepared all week, just like the Pride event. It's a very, very busy week. And I especially wanted to thank a fairly new member to the congregation for the energy, creativity, organization that she gave to that. All the people who helped out, responded to her well-planned organization. And I have these flowers here. So where's Amy? Can you come up here?
Thank you so much. If I had everyone stand up who was involved, I think we'd all stand up. So we'll skip that. But I'm so happy to say it was yet another very successful, good annual yard sale. Thank you so much to everyone who donated good things. It was so much. Thank you so much to everybody that helped out. It was an absolute team effort. When I chatted with Chris Rader, she said, "Don't worry, you'll have a great crew." And she was right. Yeah. Awesome. Breaking news. This is exciting. So, we had fun, that's for sure. I had fun. The weather held out. It was iffy, but it was great. We had great conversations with each other and with the community. I think it really is a great community outreach. We got useful things out to people that want them and need them. In these unstable times that we're in, I think that maybe baseball gloves for kids, tools, books, toys, and generosity, both from the shoppers and the sellers, is more important than ever. So, the breaking news. For the building fund, from the yard sale, we raised let's see if I can do this math right, $2,255.86. Plus, breaking news is there was a used automobile that was sold in the parking lot. Great idea for next year if you have a used car. And a portion of those the sale went towards the yard sale. So grand total over $2,500 this year. So thanks, everybody.
And now, for our land acknowledgement. Our fellowship is located on the ancestral homeland of the Piscosa. And you guys already know I get really emotional about this. I think it's really important that we do acknowledge that we are someplace that we might not otherwise be if people hadn't come and taken something from someone else. For thousands of years, the Piscosa have been stewards of this land, fishing, hunting, gathering roots and berries, and practicing cultural traditions. The Piscosa still live here. We acknowledge that their land has been taken over because the US government broke treaty obligations and carelessly allowed uninvited white colonizers to settle here. We stand alongside our indigenous neighbors as they continue their traditions and seek to have all their rights recognized. We acknowledge our shared responsibility to sustain right relations with each other and the land. And for more on this subject, please visit our website, cascadeuu.org, under Welcome. Now let us rise in body and spirit to sing our congregational song. Did you, I was gonna say, did you have opening words first?
Yeah.
Sorry. There's two different two different ones here. Reverend Thomas will give us some opening words, then we'll stand and sing.
My old tradition is different than other people's old tradition. I wanted to honor the fact, acknowledge the fact that our country is dropping bombs on another country. First, we tend to do this once every decade at least. Past 100 years have not seen a decade in which we are not dropping bombs on someone. And in acknowledgement of that reality, I wanted to say this. Out of the flames of fear, we rise. We rise with the courage of our deepest convictions to stand for justice, inclusion, and deep, hard peacemaking. Out of the flames of scrutiny, we rise to proclaim our faith with hope, to heal a fractured, broken, hurting world. We rise out of the flames of doubt to embrace the mystery and the wonder and the awe that flows through all there is and is yet to be. We, Unitarian Universalists and all who are our spiritual family, rise out of the flames of hate, rise with the force of love that overcomes all fear and celebrates our shared humanity. For out of the flames we rise to worship.
And now we'll stand together and sing our congregational hymn, Light Divine. It's a summer solstice chant, and they'll teach us how we're doing this.
Okay, we're going to sing this, we're going to sing this one time through and then everybody.
Okay, so first listen to them sing and then join in.
That was fun. The chalice and flame are a symbol of our congregation gathered in principles and faith. If you at home have your chalice with you, please join me now in lighting it. Here in the sanctuary, we will speak these lighting words in unison. Yesterday, our distant ancestors gathered around a flame to share their stories and find comfort. Tomorrow, our descendants will gather round a flame, talking of a life we will never know. But today, it is we who gather here around this flame, seeking, believing, and being together.
Love is at the center of everything we do and think as Unitarian Universalists. And sometimes we represent love, its fiery power, as the sun, shining, warming us, greater than the whole earth, and yet so very intimate and personal when it warms my skin, or yours. When it nurtures my garden or yours. Always giving life. The sun gives life, and so does love. It is deeply life-affirming, the sun. And this is Solstice, the day of the sun. The longest day, or these few days, have a slight variation of a few minutes. It's really Friday night was Solstice. And solstice is this moment, our earth is spinning around, it's tilted a little bit, doesn't just go like this and the sun's over here. It's got a little tilt. So it tilts a little bit more towards the sun at sometimes, and when it's over here, of course, it's tilted away, and that's winter, but when it's tilted straight towards the sun, that's the solstice day. And it's amazing, 10 o'clock at night, I was getting ready to go to bed, and the stars were barely out. There was only a couple stars, it was still twilight. There's so much light, abundant light. You know, to think about that, this is called the solstice, the summer solstice, the midsummer's day, full of sun and possibilities. Of course, the sun is with all light, with all fire. If there's too much of it, it can be dangerous. So we're glad that now we've passed that point. It's not going to get more sun. Now the sun is going to be starting to fade a little bit, a little shorter of days. It gets a little darker, little teeny bits, teeny bits. Now, of course, it's still going to get hot. And it's actually going to get hotter. We've experienced that already. We already had the preview in a couple of weeks where it was really hot. And then it's cooled down. It's been so nice to have it be cold, but it's going to get hotter again. The sun's energy is built up in the atmosphere, and it's circling around. And as the earth is circling around, all that heat is circling around. It's coming back to us. And it does this every year. Every year it comes back and fades, and then grows again, and then fades. And there's something amazing about that. We can trust that. We might mess up the atmosphere a little bit. We might cause all sorts of problems in waterways and things like that. Human beings are having a big impact on the earth, but we do not change the turning of the earth. We do not change the power of the sun. It is bigger than us, bigger than all of us together, grand and glorious, and the source of life. You and I and all the earth shall begin now the next circle around the sun. So here's to the sun, here's to solstice, and here's to another year of magic and maybe mistakes. And now I would like James Black to come forward. He's written a poem about the solstice, and we wanted everyone to hear this poem, and then the children will go off to their classes.
Good morning, everyone. Happy solstice. Really quick, the solstice time it's a time of celebration. Light is abundant, food is abundant, community is thriving. But it's also a reminder that life isn't static, that things change, and we're headed for a season of change. Okay. Today we meet at the hinge of the sun, when the world leans just for a breath into the height of its brilliance. The light stretches long, casting golden silence over hill and field, calling blossoms into their fullest selves and ripening fruit when once there was only bud. This is the summit of becoming, the day that holds the most light, a celebration of all we've sown and nurtured, in soil, in spirit, in one another. It is the season of wide open windows, shared laughter echoing through warm evenings, meals eaten outside, barefoot in the grass. A time when community feels easy, as natural as the sun rising. And yet, even now, at the height of radiance, the light begins to wane. The wheel turns quietly, almost lovingly. Not as an ending, but as a reminder, nothing lasts forever, and that is sacred too. The solstice teaches us this paradox, that abundance and impermanence walk hand in hand, that joy must be held with open palms, that we are asked not to cling to the light, but to carry it inward, to become the lanterns for each other when the nights begin to stretch. This moment asks us to notice, to truly see the beauty still unfolding, to gather what nourishes, and to plant seeds we'll tend in the dark. We do not fear this turning. We've seen it before. We know how to walk together through shadow. Let us honor that long light while it's here. Let us dance, sing, and feast, but also sit in reverent silence, aware that brilliance is a gift not just to behold, but to share. So may we shine now, not for our own glory, but as beacons for the weary, warmth for the lost, and reminder that light returns always, even after the longest night. In this, we are much like the earth, ever turning, ever changing, ever held in the sacred rhythm of dark and light, grief and joy, loss and renewal. This is the heart of the solstice. This is the center of the wheel. This is the pulse of everything we are.
And now, we'd like some people along the middle to create an arch so that the youngest of us can go off and have children's classes with Mari leading them. With each other to find meaning in the spirit of love that we share. Now go with each other to find meaning in the spirit of love that we share. Go with each other to find meaning in the spirit of love that we share. So Roxanne has two really big jobs today. One is to be celebrant and the other is to be grandma. She's trying to do those at the same time. One way we create and ground our community in our worship service is by sharing a time of honoring and remembering, to share important events and experiences in our individual lives. We are all responsible to carry out our caring ministry, to be thoughtful about what we share, to share only what we have permission from others to share. We're all responsible for our caring ministry all the time, always needing to care for one another, to show kindness and caring. But we have a team, the care team, and representing the care team today is Gary Pape. Where's Gary? Gary. And if you need to talk with him about how we care for one another or just your own struggles of life, please reach out to him after the service. Currently, the caring team is organizing rides for Jim Bryant. Comes with his guitar and sometimes his dog, River. He needs to go to physical therapy. It's a long drive. It's hard for him. He needs people to do that. We've set up a schedule going all the way into August. But if any of you would like to participate in this particular caring ministry, please go to our lots of helping hands website. We've been encouraging people to sign up and join with that, and then various needs will appear and we can sign up and volunteer to help other members of our community as the time goes forward. Now, I will light the central chalice. I'll invite you to come forward to speak your name and to share briefly about something of significance in your life. This is the gospel of wonder. When the times are dark, the way becomes clear. This is the gospel of astonishment. If we are completely lost, we come home by being with each other. Like the earth, we are ever spinning, ever changing, turning around the sun, and our religion is always moving. There are those whose religious way is to be certain of beliefs as hard as facts of stone. Those who think that and approach religion in that way want everyone else to agree with them. And they cling firmly to the source of their comfort and hope. They declare everyone who does not hold to that same way as heretics or enemies. The root of the word heresy, you may know, this comes from a Greek word heresis, which means choice or a system of principles. It was used to refer to any school of thought. But in early Christianity, there was a desire to set things down because there were so many different interpretations. And by the year 325, they decided to have one. They had several councils. All Christians had been gathering together in councils. They had this big council in the city of Nicaea. And there they declared that the people who thought that Christianity was more about ethics and more willing to accept open-ended responses to the questions of life should be declared heretics. And amongst those at the center were the Unitarians. Unitarian was a term of disparagement, of attack, of insult. People who could not understand the Trinity. It's so obvious that Jesus and God and the Spirit were all the same thing and yet different. And Unitarians were saying, I don't think we should set this down in a code and just say, don't think about it. I think we should always think about it. And what does it mean in our lives? But we have always been those who trust the larger truth, who find comfort in reality itself and in the experience of learning more, understanding more, finding deeper understandings. I once served a man whose father had gone through a long illness and then died. The deceased man had been a very firm scientific atheist. I didn't know him, but the son had become a member of my congregation. For a couple of years he was there, but he always told me he was a tentative member because his dad had taught him to be very, very suspicious of organized religion. To honor the wishes of the deceased, there was not going to be any funeral, no big grand celebration. But there was several hours where the family and friends could come and people could see the body and then give honor and condolences to the family. And I was there talking to people. And this one woman came in. She did not know the father at all, didn't know anything about him. But she knew the son very well through work. And she came up to him, and I was standing next to him, so he introduced me to her, and she greeted me, and then she turned to him and she said, I'm very sorry for your loss, But know this, he is with God now. And afterwards, as obvious meant, it was a conventional statement. She wasn't thinking about what she was saying. She was trying to comfort him. And it was a very conventional thing that she obviously said to many people around her. But afterwards, the son and I were talking about it. And she goes, I don't think he would like it if he had suddenly found himself face to face with that old man in the sky. It would be deeply disturbing, and he's not in comfort right now. A conventional idea like that is not a bad idea, unless we cling to it with certainty and use it to block out all other understandings. This woman, in her comfort with convention, had not really thought about the possibilities and not sought them and didn't even ask. Those who are certain of their beliefs are always in an argument with the universe, because our understanding of the universe is ever growing and changing, if not in major ways, in smaller ways. In the movie Conclave, there's this great moment where the head of all the cardinals gives a little homily. It's also in the Robert Harris book on which the movie was based. And he says, certainty is the great enemy of unity. Certainty is the deadly enemy of tolerance. Even Christ was not certain at the end when he cried out in his agony in the 9th hour on the cross, why? Our faith is a living thing precisely because it walks hand in hand with doubt. If there was only certainty, and if there was never doubt, there would be no mystery, and therefore no need for faith. I think it's striking that the head of the Catholic cardinals, head of the body that's choosing the new pope, gives a Unitarian Universalist sermon. Many young men recently voted for Donald Trump because they really don't know how they fit into the world. They grew up with the image of men, clear and unquestioned. Men are fighters, men are workers, hard workers, men are providers. And they're not sure how they fit in this new rainbow world in which there's all sorts of different kind of people. They're not sure where they fit in a place where America is the greatest country in the world, and we should not question that. And we should die for it. They want to make America great again. There are many people who are troubled with changes. All the time, changes. My passwords are changing all the time. It drives me crazy. You just ask Amy. I complain about passwords, this maze. You have to go through to figure out which button and where is that button now? And why did they change this page? It's always changing. Little things like that, and big, huge patterns in our culture are changing all the time. We've always been the leaders of those within religion who are more interested in whatever is true and being open to the changes that will come by exploring truth and learning more about truth, seeking what is ethically good and changing it slightly or grandly as we need to. There are some people who are trying to deny in classrooms the fact that we are a racist country that has enslaved people on the base of our multiple layers of racial categories. They just don't want to talk about it. They don't want to hear about it. They don't want to hear about our failings. They don't want to hear about our weaknesses, about our mistakes and our errors. But the mistakes and the errors teach us that we're open to learning. If we admit that we have made errors, we're open to seeing reality more fully and possibly. Unitarian Universalists, about every 25 years now, change our statement of who we are as a national body. There's been many statements. The Unitarians and Universalists come up with statements, and then they find out 50, 100 years later, they need to rewrite it or change it a little bit or come up with something new. 1961, Unitarians and Universalists finally said, we're practically the same thing. We might as well just become a unified body. So we got Unitarian Universalism, and a statement of principles was written, and it was put in the bylaws, and it lasted until the 1970s. And then women started complaining about how there's nothing about women in there. It's all about men. And there were other wording problems. And so by 1984, we completely rewrote the principles, and we separated out the principles from sources. New words. Then a couple of years later, we added another source, the earth, nature, earth-centered traditions. We added that in, constantly changing. And now we've changed it again. This last year ago, June, we came up with a totally new statement, which is not about principles, but about values. We have value statements that have commitments that we've added to it, promises that we're making, changing it. Maybe in 25 years we'll need to come up with different words, different ways of explaining what is always the same, which is we are committed to understanding this world as best as possible, to understanding the diversity and complexity of humanity and all living things, and then living as well on creating the best possible community that we can create together. That never changes. The way we talk about it, we might use more Jesus language, we might use more Buddhist language, we might use totally atheist language. It doesn't matter, because the core remains the same, that open heart, the open mind, the commitment to making promises, keeping the promises, and then adjusting them should they turn out to not quite fit with what we really, truly all need. There are a lot of people who are seeking comforts. We know big congregations here of people who are coming to hear that there is an evil threat to your existence after life, but you can be absolutely certain that you will not go to the hellfires and damnation, but you will live in paradise. They're certain of it. They present it as a certainty, both the evil, which is out there for those other people, and the joy that is ours. There are people seeking that certainty and confidence and comfort. Death is scary. Every year I think a little bit more. Since I was a teenager, I've been thinking about the fact I'm going to die one day. And yet somehow it seems more real now. You all feel it. It's like you just start seeing people that you thought would live forever, and then they're not alive anymore. You start to realize that I'm not going to be around forever, and even as hard as I try. And we know this is a fact, but you have to incorporate it over and over again, struggling with the possibilities. I was struck reading about the big rally. It was a huge rally that happened in Seattle back in the end of May. A huge rally. It was part of the Don't Mess With Our Kids tour. Went to 5 cities. People went to 5 cities advocating freedom from same-sex attraction and the sacrality of biological gender. They don't want to listen. They don't want to hear. They don't want to see what is real in front of their face. I remember a parent of there was a child in one of my congregations. The child's name was Skip. And the mom said, I have always known Skip. Since the day Skip was born, and I've always known that Skip was a little different. And I still don't know who Skip is. I don't know what gender Skip is. And Skip doesn't know either. We're learning that together. And it was this beautiful testimony of just unquestionable, unlimited love for her own child. And she was part of my congregation, that UU congregation, because that unlimited love was given to everyone. Some of us are cantankerous. Some of us are clear and sweet. In different ways, we come together, we bring different things into community. It's amazing how the people who want to take away others' freedoms, who want to deny the ability of others to see the world clearly, are perfectly willing to blame or treat others as though they're attacking them. After the protests in Seattle at the end of May, the leader of the large gathering, the ultra-Christian nationalist gathering, said, "Seattle deserves better than a radical leftist who tramples on religious freedoms of citizens while providing cover for violent extremists to abuse police officers, to attack Christians, and to destroy the city." Harrell rejected their demands for him to step out of the office and really blamed them for the violence. And then the Seattle City Council passed a resolution reaffirming that the city was a welcoming city. And they specifically named the leaders of the rally as fomenters of division, of intolerance, of misunderstanding. These are the kind of people that we are. Always open to the greater truth. Always aware that religion has been many different things to many different people. There are different cultural traditions. I remember learning about India, studying the religion of India. And there was not a Hinduism when the British first got there. Hinduism brought this cultural norm they had from Christianity about, either you are or you aren't, and you're going to be in this category or this category. India's always been, like all humanity, full of great diversity. And one week someone would be celebrating the powerful warrior Durga, the female warrior riding on her tiger, and the next time they would be celebrating Krishna as playing his flute, or the great, serene Shiva, all the different deities. And there was no need to, and then there was people who were very, very philosophical about religion, and people who were Buddhist. Buddha appears in India because it's a place that says there's all different sorts of ways, and let's listen to each other and understand one another. And it's only recently, with this Christian norm, that Hindu fundamentalism has appeared in India and has fueled wars and violence and division. And we all fear about the wars and the violence and division in our culture. But the sun always rises because the earth always turns. I love the poem, affirmation of that power, the spiritual power that brings us together. When I look around and I see all of you filling the chairs, I think, we need to build a bigger building. So let us imagine democracy as a space for productive and even creative tension, rather than a place of division and divisiveness. Let us find ways to weaken the polarization and the cynicism and the political despair in this world. Let us explore how religion and democracy coexist in pluralistic societies. Let us transform political enemies into partners in creation. Out of the flames of fear we rise with the courage of our deepest convictions to stand for justice, inclusion, and peace. Out of the flames of criticism we rise to proclaim our faith with hope to heal a fractured and hurting world. We rise out of the flames of hate with the force of love, a love that celebrates our shared humanity. Always. Out of the flames of summer and war, we rise, we rise. And now let us take an offering and move towards the end of worship.
We are blessed by your generosity. May your gifts make a difference in our communities through the ministries of this church. And now let's rise and sing our closing song, Praise the Sun.
The fullness of our gathering and the fullness of the year and the fullness of love and hope. Move to the end of this service, but never the end of love and hope, for these go with us as we cross the face of the earth, each day, each night, each life.
And now, as we extinguish our chalice, please join me in saying the words printed in your order of service or on the screen. Never has it been more true than now. We extinguish this flame, but the sparks within us remain alight. From each of us, in our supposed solitude, the signals buzz and hum, sparkling through space to one another, connecting us invisibly, but palpably. We are one, and our light shines.
Our light shines.
Different.
Amen. And then if you'd like to make a circle, if it's try to make one circle, if you need to make it into two, go ahead. And we'll see each other a blessing.